And welcome to this week's edition of the Winner the Mailman. Tonight we have our guest from Gering High School is Emily Shanowski. She is a top-notch golfer in the area, and she's been playing great golf this week. So I'd like to introduce you to Emily Shanowski, and of course my partner over here, Brianna Winner. And let's get started tonight. We've got a lot to talk about with Miss Shanowski. Also, we'll be talking with Garrett Nelson a little while in the podcast. But first things first, let's tee off with Miss Shanowski here.
So obviously, going back to the start of the season, how are you feeling going into this season at a new school versus now?
I mean, I try not to think of it any differently. It's basically like the same thing. But, I think I'm a lot closer with my teammates now, and I think that really helps, like my golf game, so.
And, how did that transition go? I mean, I played golf in high school, but I played for a little school, so, we all got along, you went from one of the bigger schools around here to the other bigger school around here, and, everybody knew who you were coming in, and, how has the community of Gering accepted you, not only in their golf team, but in their school?
They've been all, like, really friendly, and, they really accepted me. Probably because they knew me, and then my sister also went to Gering, so they basically know me and my family already. So.
And so I guess my question is knowing you come from a golfing family, you've got a brother and a sister that both play golf. What was your home course growing up?
Well, it was both of them because it started out at Scottsbluff Country Club, and then it moved to Gering because my sister moved there. And then my brother finished out his year at Scottsbluff, and then we changed to Gering, and then we changed back to Scottsbluff because I was going to attend Scottsbluff High School. And then I still play at Scottsbluff every day because I'm a member there now, but sometimes we'll just go to Gering and just play.
Which one's tougher, the country club or Gering?
Country club.
I knew the answer, but I wanted to hear it straight from her. Because, when you got a good golfer, they're like, well, they're all tough, but you got to figure them out. And, I knew a lot of great players who played the country club. And so, Brianna, what else do you got for her tonight?
Obviously, I'm still new. I hadn't covered golf before your first win, pretty much. So, you've won pretty much every single invite. So the feeling's just been the same every time as you're getting closer to the end of your senior season and obviously states coming up?
Well, I'm trying to keep it the same feeling because I know towards the end of my other seasons I've kind of fallen apart at the end. So I'm just trying to kind of keep it together for the rest of my season or the end of it.
In Alliance, what was it? You started with a triple bogey?
Yeah.
And you still only went one over?
Yeah.
That's never happened in my life. I stay consistent. Triple all the way through. That's I'm not much of a golfer. I've always wanted to talk to you about your parental support. We talked about your family. I know your mom and dad are big supporters of you. I kind of have an idea, but I want to hear it from you. The full extent of the support from your mom and dad.
They've been teaching me how to golf since I was really little, and so it's kind of their thing. And so they really back me up when it comes to golf, and they really try to make sure that I do my best, and they always try and help me when I do something wrong. So.
If my kid was a better golfer than I would have a hard time trying to teach them to do something different. But it is easier to see from the outside. Let's talk about your coach, Miss Boswell. How has she been transitioning into playing for her?
Pretty easy. She also knew me beforehand, so she's been really nice and really helpful, and trying her best to make me feel comfortable in the new area.
One of your other coaches happens to be your own dad, and I know that he's in your group every single time, and then Coach Boswell will just come around and just check on you guys. So feel like having your dad obviously with you going through every single hole, not just like in the golf cart like your mom is,
Yeah.
but actually being able to help you through each hole?
I mean, sometimes it's kind of stressful because he's there all the time. Sometimes I might just need a break. But I mean, he's really helpful. He doesn't really like tell me like everything I should do. He just, if I need help like deciding something, he'll like give his input.
You know, and I guess another question. I'm a fair weather golfer, so it has to be really nice out before I'll go play golf. You know, and I've heard playing in the tougher weather is always harder. You know, we saw a little bit of colder weather today. You know, who knows what's going to happen here in the next week or two. You know, what's it like to try and go from playing in the warmer temperatures? And you guys have had some really nice days to play this year. But obviously, you know, fall's going to finally show up. And, you know, tell me what it's like to play in more inclement weather.
It's more difficult because your mental game kind of goes down. So you really just have to focus on your mental and just staying in the game. When it comes to like more nicer weather, it's more like you just play. Like there's nothing really like mental you have to stay in with besides just playing.
But is it like a playbook when it comes to the type of ball you use to, you know, your distance out, the club you're going to use? I mean, do you have to go a little bigger when you're, you know, like normally you would hit a 9-iron, you might want to hit an 8-iron when it's a little cooler, or you know, your type of ball?
So, my ball doesn't change ever. The only thing that would change is when it's colder, you'll have to hit a longer club.
Sure.
And like if there's a lot of wind, you might have to hit longer club or less club.
And I know Brianna and I are both just the kind of the elephant in the room with us. You and Anna, all season long. How helpful has it been to have Anna? And not only Anna, but the other, you know, there's some great golfers out there. To have them kind of breathing down your neck pretty much every week. I mean, how does that kind of motivate you?
I think it just helps me do better. I mean, it really like challenges you and it helps you be more focused and more like in the game.
Naomi got this last one. And I see the smile on your face. How happy were you when she got the win?
I mean, I was happy for her. She shot like her personal best round, and that's amazing for her. Like, I'm really proud of her. And I mean, she used to be my teammate, so of course, like, I'm proud of her.
I was gonna say, because you know, not only you got your Gering teammates, but you also got your formers over there, and I know that the friendships don't change. The competitiveness might, but the friendships don't. So, Brianna, what else do you got? Do you have anything else?
Okay.
I kind of took up everything here, and I don't want to do that.
I know. Like, so, you lining up. You're going, like, all the way down. Like, even Coach Boswell's like, I was never able to go that low. Why do you go that low?
I mean, for me, like, my eyes, like, they're not, like, very good, like, vision-wise. So I like can't see the line like how straight it is unless I'm like very
on
low.
the ground.
Yeah, basically.
Because it looks like you're like laying on the ground.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm just really flexible.
Yeah, I've seen it. Just don't understand.
I gotta give her credit. I never line up putts. I just walk up to it and say, well, I think it's gonna go a little bit this
Like
way.
she'll line up the ball. She'll line up the ball, step back, and then just go right back down, like all the way down, even if it's like not that far from the hole. So now going into obviously this Saturday's GNAC, and then Monday is districts. So how are you feeling? Obviously, you're going back to Hillside, I believe it is,
Yes.
in Sydney to play districts. So how are you feeling going back to that course?
That course, yeah.
Last time I did pretty okay. I think I could do a lot better, but I'm feeling pretty good because I played it so many times, like throughout summer and like throughout my past seasons. So I feel really confident on that course.
Is there anything else you have?
I have one more pop question. What's your best club in your bag?
Oh, I would say my favorite's probably my driver. goes the furthest.
Well, you know, you got some players that like their long game, their middle game, or their short game. And do you like your long game the best?
No, I like my short game the best.
That's my worst. I am terrible at chipping and putting, but boy, I like to Happy Gilmore the ball off the tee every once in a while. So
Another pop question. What's your favorite course?
Oh, Lincoln Country Club.
really, you went right to the top on that one, did you? That is a good course. That's a nice course. I do like Hillside in Lincoln, or in Sydney, though. I mean, I've played that course a couple of times. Well, Emily, do you have anything for us? Is there anything you'd like to tell our listeners or our viewers about, you know, you're geared up and ready to go, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's about it.
That sounds good to me. Brianna, anything else?
No, I don't. Do you?
No? Well, Emily, we appreciate you being here with us tonight. And you can find us on
star-herald.com. And next up, we will have Garrett Nelson on the Husker Rundown. So next up on the Winner the Mailman, joining us from across the state is going to be Garrett Nelson, who is joining us once again. So how are you feeling tonight?
I am feeling pretty okay. I'm really glad back on the show. Pretty sweet. I got the call back, which I guess I did all right.
We're not going to let you go. You know that, right? You're locked in.
Not letting you leave.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you know.
We got such a great response last week, Garrett. Thank you so much for giving us your time to do this. I mean, that means the world to us and our viewers, our listeners, everybody. I got such a great compliment for that. So thank you so much. But
of course.
Yeah.
That's nice that they're giving me compliments. I thought I did a pretty okay job.
Well,
would you like to go with the first question?
Well, I was just going to say, we just got done with Emily Shanowski from Gering High School. She is a high school golfer. Now our guy with
the Husker Rundown.
The Husker Rundown. That is the Garrett Nelson segment of the Winner the Mailman podcast. So you got a segment named after you, Garrett. How do you feel about that?
Going from the first episode to getting a segment named after me, that's like a raise and a promotion all in one. That's pretty sweet.
Well, I mean, after last week, you kind of deserved it.
Oh, I try to make people laugh and give some good tips, so I think it works out pretty okay.
I mean, I was reading the story this morning from the Journal Star, and it was talking about your first night in the dorms. It was just like, hey, you want to?
You and I had this conversation, didn't we?
Yeah,
you and I had this conversation. Yeah.
It's actually funny. I kind of got in trouble at practice today because I was talking to Jason Peter, and we were subbing in nickel package, and I was talking to him, and Coach Dawson was yelling at me, "Garrett, pay attention!" I was running out there late, but after practice, I was talking to JP, Jason Peter, and he was like, "Oh, okay, all right." But anyway, he was coming over to me, and he was like, "So when can I get in on those nightly lists with you guys?" And we were laughing and talking about it. Me and Nick were talking about it. Yeah, it's I don't know who told the story or how it came up again. So right now, but yeah, that was one of the first things. Like, we got sold into our dorms, and we didn't have really any instructions on what to do or whatever. So we were kind of on our own the first, however many hours. And I was looking at Nick, and I was like, well, I only know a couple things. So you want to go work out? So we went, I can't remember if it was open or we did something, but we went and worked out at however late it was. And that was one of my first nights of college.
I think Brianna had a couple questions for you. Obviously, I did too, and we're going to try and keep this segment a little shorter because we know you've got things to do. But do you want to start it off for us, or do you want me to go?
I mean, you can go. I mean, we both know what we're gonna talk about first.
Well, Michigan State's the elephant in the room. I mean, guys, Gary, you guys played phenomenal on defense that night. I thought our offense played phenomenal. Tell me a little bit, and I know this isn't your crew this year, but tell me the directional kick that went right or was supposed to go right and ended up going left, ended up scoring on us.
Yeah. So that was, let me think of this. So we scored, and I think we went out there, we went and got another stop. And I think that was when Nick and Luke combined on that sack on that drive. Came off the field. we were feeling good. I can't remember how many. I think it was 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. I think the offense was going out, and I was like, all right, man, just get a couple first downs, and the game's pretty much done. I think they got one first down, and then they got stalled on their second one, and that's when the punt unit came out. And I was standing there. I was like, okay, I think we got 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. They ate up a minute or two. Let's go out there. I was excited, like, let's go out there and, put it to these guys haven't pissed or dropped the whole second half. And so I was fired up, ready to go. And they put out 2 returners, and I didn't notice that until he kicked it. So they went and kicked it, and it started. I was right where I was dead even on the yard line where the returners were. And went and kicked it the wrong way, obviously. And I didn't notice till there were 2 returners out there. And I was looking at the ball, and I was like, and all our dudes are running that way. And I was looking at the ball, and I was like, oh, buddy, I don't think that's the way it was supposed to be kicked. And then I looked down, and I noticed, well, I was like, okay, I think we'll be fine. We'll just, the returner will run over there, and we'll, it might be a big gain on a punt, but, like I said, they haven't really done anything on offense. And then I looked down, and there's a second returner there, and I'm like, oh, no, this is not gonna. So Tom get the ball, and he started running. There's only 2 or 3 white jerseys there, and I was like, yeah, it was a bad deal. That it was really, like we were talking about it in our unity council meeting, how guys were like laughing and having fun, and like, oh yeah, we won the game, and guys were getting pissed off. The dudes were locked in, but it's for me, like, I love, better than anybody, I love playing football, and the sense of winning and beating the dudes, that's what, like, it almost gives you an extra kick in the ass. And we were killing these dudes, and all that happiness, that like, oh dude, let's go out on another drive, and these hammer them even more, that all that. As soon as that guy took that punt return, and I like sucked out of my body. That was a strange, weird feeling. I've never, like, it was instant, and I was like, oh man, like, my body, like, I wasn't, not locked in, and I wasn't, like, after that happened, I wasn't like slouching, but it just felt like my soul left my body, and I was like, oh, holy cow.
So did Husker Nation.
Yeah. And so, strapped the helmet on and was ready to go, but obviously, like, everybody saw the end of the game, and yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but that I just remember that feeling of just everything, the whole, my emotion, the happiness, and like just out of my feet. So, but yeah, that was probably the biggest thing I remember, is them seeing the kick the wrong way, and then that feeling leaving my body, which was tough. Yeah, no, that was a bad deal. I shouldn't. I guess I shouldn't have lined up right where the turners are. Maybe it was better luck, but who knows? Yeah.
Though, and I said this before we started, that you guys dominated. I mean, you talked about it a little bit. Those guys couldn't. Those guys couldn't move the ball to save their lives. I mean, even if they would have slapped a bunch of stamps on it, they couldn't get it moved. And, you guys, tell me about this Kenneth Walker III. I mean, this guy was tearing everybody up coming into that game, and you guys just shut him down like an old dead freezer.
Yeah, I went up for that. My interview, I gave a shout out to my mom, and everybody thought it was hilarious. Like, every reporter was like, oh man, Kenneth Walker Jr., nine yards carry, like, leads NCAA. And I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, what do you mean what we're going to do? Like, we're going to go play defense. Like, this guy's not, he puts on football pants just like the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a dude, don't make him 10 feet tall. We had an outstanding defensive night against him. He shut him down. I think he had, 50 yards or something like that.
That was sick.
Yeah. Like, you can't look at a dude and be like, oh my gosh, this guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that my dudes are going to get my job done. They're going to go hit him in the mouth. And I know I'm going to get my job done, go hit him in the mouth every play. And I mean, that's like, you grew up with it. That's how Nebraska football player, we might, be trailing the whole game, or, it'd be a close game, or we're ahead. It's just neck and neck. I mean, you start leaning on dudes the whole game without letting up. I mean, people can't handle it. That's, the whole Nebraska tough brand that they built is leaning on people until they finally snapped in the fourth or third quarter. And that's, we got them right from the get-go in this game. But, you hit somebody like that every game. You have 11 dudes every single time, every single play to the ball. The offense starts looking at each other like, we can't move the ball. Like, what are we going to do? So I think, that's what we did. And it was a really good job by, everybody on the defense to do that. And, props to those guys because, they work as hard as I do. And we were flying around that night. It was awesome play defense that night.
So going obviously in overtime, I think they were on the 5-yard line at the end. I mean, what was the mentality? Like, what was going through your head? You're like, just need to get a stop.
Yeah. I mean, don't let them in the end zone. We need to stop and then let's go block this field goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, we weren't looking at each other like, oh no, like, what I'm saying? We're like, Stilly and I were, Boogie, everybody's yelling at each other, like, get him down, let's block this field goal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, we weren't, it wasn't like, we were dying out there or anything. Like, we were, living to fight for the field goal and try to block it and, play some more football. But we weren't freaking out or anything like that. So that was our mentality. Let's go block this field goal after we stop them.
Well, and I think that one of the things that was floating around all week, the graphic that was floating around all week was the black shirt defense in the fourth quarter. You guys have been stuffing everybody. The offense has been playing well in the fourth quarter. You guys had only allowed 7 points in the fourth quarter up through that game. And now, they only got the 3. So, I mean, I know it leads the Big Ten. I'm not sure. I think it might even lead the country right now. I mean, how proud of you of a stat like that? I know you'd rather have the win, Garrett. I know you better than that. I know you'd rather have the 2 wins out of the last 2 losses, but I mean, how much pride does that, there's been a lot of talk about, whether they should give the black shirts out. This year, you guys definitely earned those black shirts. And that's that graphic that I saw about I heard Matt Davison and Greg Sharp talking about it. I heard it on TV. But you guys, I mean, going into that game, 41-7 outscored your opponents in the fourth quarter, and you guys have held only to 7 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, how big is that?
Like I said, that's you start leaning on everybody's, Big Ten football is tough. I mean, Anybody can beat anybody on a Saturday. I kind of related it to boxing in my mind. You don't go in a big fight expecting not to get punched in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Everybody in the Big Ten, everybody's a heavyweight champion. Everybody wants to throw punches. You're going to get punched in the mouth and it's going to hurt, but you got to punch back. You know what I'm saying? And the more, in the sense of not taking blows, but dealing them out, you might take a couple hits in the first and second quarter, they get a touchdown or a field goal here, or they get a big play or whatever, you're gonna, that's how football is. That's how Big Ten football is. There's athletes, those guys are on scholarship too. Those guys are All-Americans too. You know what I'm saying? It's not a meek conference. So we're going to take those hits and we understand that minimizing those X plays, minimizing those touchdowns and field goals is what we try to accomplish every week. And as we start leaning on, we're tougher than anybody. We start leaning on those dudes, and we keep running the ball. We keep getting stops. We keep getting pressures and sacks. And, everybody's flying to the ball the whole game. Like I said, the third, fourth quarter, these guys are looking around like, what's the play call? What are we doing? So I've always wanted to do that, growing up, I always wanted to be a part of that defense where people are like, man, you guys were insane. And, it's only halfway or, a third of the season in, and we got to keep doing it through Big Ten play, but it's nice to be recognized right now as one of those defenses.
Absolutely. And, and that's just it, Garrett. And I'm going to tell Husker Nation right now, and I'm going to tell them for you right now, I hear the naysayers. I'm a fan just like everybody. I read the comments. And I know you guys don't, but the Husker Nation people out there that are dogging these guys, they need to hear right now that these guys, Garrett Nelson, the rest of that football team, they're just as disappointed about that loss as everybody else is. And I guarantee you these guys are working to get it together. And people need to understand that, Garrett. I mean, I know you guys probably hear it. You guys probably read it. And I guarantee your coaches are telling you don't listen to what the garbage that you're going to hear about. But I think people need to understand that disappointed you guys just as much as, or more than it did anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, definitely disappointed the fans. We work, we get up every day, we work every day, we invested our lives into this. So it don't mean to throw my mom under the bus, but when you come out of the game in Michigan State and your mom's crying, it puts a big hole in your heart. That when that happens, we know, obviously we watch film too. The coaches are some of the best in the world. They know what's wrong. We know what's wrong. It's not like we were like, oh, that was okay. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Like, we understand that the mistakes and what we do, and we try to fix it. That's what practice is for. And people are saying like, oh, how did they not know? Like, we know the mistakes. Trust me, we know what we did. It's not like we're not fixing to change them. You know what I'm saying? And that's it's not on the coaches. It's on us as players to, hold everybody to a higher standard every single day of practice. The coaches are there to help with technique. They're not there to help with, effort or, things like that. I'm just saying, you give 100% on special teams, on defense, on offense. They will coach the mistakes. They will coach the errors. And that's when you start doing enough of that, and you understand the mistakes. When you're flying around 100 miles an hour, most of the time the plays will be made because you're giving so much effort. The coaching comes afterwards, like, hey, you were flying around, but get a better leverage on this tackle or do this. You know what I'm saying? Or in special teams, instead of doing this, do that. Like, as long as you're flying around and giving it your all, they will coach you. We have tons of dudes that are, perfect with their technique, or, giving 100% of their technique and doing it right, and trying to do it right. That's all you can ask. And, everybody sees the mistakes, the one-offs or the two mistakes that are catastrophic. But what about the 10 other dudes, or, the other dudes that are doing it perfect every day? That's what we've been talking about, like getting everybody up to where everybody's level is, sacrificing the team. We have a ton, like, it's complicated to explain, but you understand in my mind. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we understand the mistakes. We fix them in practice. That's what practice is for. It's not like we're just washing them over. So, yeah.
So going into this week, you're facing Northwestern. What have you guys been working on so you can rebound from those two losses?
Mm-hmm. Obviously, more urgency in the sense of, with special teams, or more urgency with offense and what we're trying to do. The urgency to get it right, the urgency to be perfect, the urgency to give everything, every play is just ramped up. Other than that, obviously we always hear Northwestern is a disciplined team that's, have tons of smart dudes. So we hear it every year. Screw that. Let's go punch them in the mouth, be some bullies. That's our mentality every game. So, let's go hit these guys in the mouth, drive them backwards, and see if they can keep up. So that's our mentality. That's what we're trying. This is what we try to do every week. We just hear a bunch of jokes because it's a private school and they're smart and whatever. So, but yeah, no, they're good. They're coached well. Obviously, Fitzy is a great coach. He's coached those guys for Big Ten championships, and they have really good athletes too. And they're really disciplined. They don't beat themselves. And, you hear it every year that they do the same, same discipline, same smart guys, same athletic dudes. They're a great team. They're in the Big Ten. They're doing really well. So, same mentality, nameless face of the opponent, do what we do, focus on what we do, and go punch somebody in the mouth.
Well, I know the history with Nebraska Northwestern, and there's been a lot of, one score games. It's gone both ways. It has been like a heavyweight championship fight, but I think the trend breaks this year. I think I think Fitzgerald and the boys are probably the people on the planet that anybody would least want to be right now, because they've got to come in and face a Nebraska team that was jilted at Michigan State, a very good Michigan State team. And I think Northwestern knows what they're coming into. And You know what? I picked it right now, 49-20, and I think that their points will be garbage. I see the Huskers rolling. I see you guys just rolling over those guys this week. It's homecoming week. It's a big deal. I don't even know what do you guys do in homecoming in college? I mean,
I don't know. Like I said, I'll walk on campus and the frat row will have like cool signs and whatever. I don't know. They probably drink a bunch of beers and stuff, but I don't know. I just walk down frat row and they got cool signs, and we're talking about extending our little walk into the stadium. So there's probably students that are doing something or whatever. But yeah, no, I think that's what they do for homecoming. I don't even know what homecoming.
Did you even go to homecoming in high school? Did you go to the dances and stuff?
I only went.
Yeah.
I went to I went to 2 dances my whole high school career. I think it was both of them were homecoming. One was my freshman year because I was a freshman and I was like, oh, this is cool. As a freshman. Afterwards, I was like, oh, that was dumb. And then I went as a sophomore because I had a hot date. And after that, I didn't go to any more dances, and I went and worked out.
And I'm not surprised, Garrett. I mean, I just don't see you like dressing up and going out and drinking punch and standing in the corner. I don't see it. You got better things to do.
Yeah, I went and worked out while everybody was dancing. I remember that. That's funny. I didn't even go to prom or anything, man. I'm a loser.
Well, I mean, she already asked you what you felt, you guys had to do for this Northwestern game. And I know I'm not gonna put you on the spot and make you give me a prediction, but how good do you guys feel about practice so far this week? You guys healthy?
Yeah, we're good. Everybody's healthy. I guess the little offensive insight from what they do, they rotate quarterbacks. I think they rotate 3. They do a ton of wildcat, and they have we call them one-offs. Yeah. So usually teams hang their hat on a couple plays, like they'll do an inside zone with a couple variations, or they'll do a stretch with a couple variations. They'll have an RPO off of something, and they'll have tendencies and formations. These guys have a little bit of that, but it's a ton of one-off stuff along with it. So eye discipline is huge this week. Knowing your assignment is huge this week, and just playing fast is huge this week. Because like I said, you play fast, you play harder than them. Most of it takes care of itself. So yeah, a little offensive insight about what they do. So like I said, just being disciplined with your eyes, playing hard, should take care of itself.
What's their balance on offense? They more of a run team, quarterback run, or are they more?
With the rotating, I think the dude. So someone got benched. One guy came in, got hurt, and then another guy came in. So it switched from a ton of pass to QB run to wildcat and RPOs. Mm-hmm. So I think we know who we're going to get at QB this week. So just being ready. We have a game plan for we know what we're going to do. So we're just go execute.
And so for the listeners and viewers out there, RPO is run pass option. You see that a lot in college football these days.
Yeah.
But Garrett, I want to thank you again for the Husker rundown this week. And Brianna, you got any final words for Garrett?
I mean, just thank you for joining us again. I mean, I guess we aren't that bad.
No, it was nice. There's a lot worse company, no doubt.
But there's only one stipulation for joining us every week. You got to finish it off with the bones.
Oh my God.
Throw the bones, baby. Here it goes.
Absolutely.
But no,
I appreciate you guys letting me on the show and giving me my own segment. It's pretty cool. I feel honored. Never had my own segment. I don't think I've ever had my own anything on a show. So,
well, it's 2021, man. There's shows all over the place, and someday you might have your own. You never know.
Who knows? Yeah, you might not. Who knows? You can help me out, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what. You go play pro football. You do your thing, and then you become a radio guy, and I'll come be your color guy.
Sweet, please do.
Well, once again, this week with Garrett Nelson, Northwestern coming up this weekend for homecoming. The Huskers are going to bounce back after that 23-20 overtime loss to Michigan State. We're just going to wipe the floor with that. We're going to put it behind us, and we're going to look ahead here to come Saturday with Northwestern. So, Mr. Garrett, good luck, buddy.
And thank you all for joining us on this week's Winner in the Mailman. So please go to star-herald.com or grab our print edition for more sports coverage, because there is going to be a lot coming up with state golf and softball playoffs. So,
And follow Garrett Nelson he's on Twitter. What was it? G Nelson 763.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, go follow Garrett on Twitter and support the guy. Write his number on your hat. Do whatever you got to do to support Garrett Nelson, and the rest of the Huskers come up Saturday here.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Next time I'll see you guys, I'll be under the lights.
That sounds great to me, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate it, guys. I hope you have a great night. Thank you for letting me on the show again.
All right, Garrett. Have a good night, buddy.
Yeah, see ya.